Discover prototypical track and turnouts with the Roadmaster series from Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply. Proudly made in the United States, Oak Hill's handcrafted turnouts provide unparalleled detail and accuracy, giving your layout museum-quality track work at an affordable price. Whether fully built or in easy-to-assemble kit form, Roadmaster provides all the details of real track. Looking for a custom piece of track work? Oak Hill can help with custom turnouts, diamonds, crossings, and more. Check out all of their offerings on their website, ohrtracksupply.com. From trackside to roadside and wherever you'd see a sign, Scale Signs has it all. With over 1,400 offerings in N, HO, S, and O scale, Scale Signs has the largest collection of fine scale signs on the planet. Come see the details that bring your models to life on their website, scalesigns.com. ATLP Extra is our monthly newsletter delivered right to your inbox each month. Sign up for free at atlpextra.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Around the Layout, where model railroaders come to tell their story. My name is Ray Arnott. So glad you could join us. We talked to Michelle Kempema about the Colorado Rail Proto Meet, and now we get to dive a little bit deeper into the activities going on there, including the Freelance Forum. And here to talk about that is Chris Palmieri. Chris, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Ray, as always. I appreciate the invite.
Glad to have you here and glad to be talking about yet another RPM, and now this one being the Colorado Rail Proto Meet being in its sophomore year. And now something really neat being added thanks to you and Home Shops and the idea of freelance and bringing that to an RPM.
Yeah, we're really excited about this partnership that we've started this year with Michelle Kempema and the Colorado RPM. And hopefully this is just the beginning of a really great tradition of model railroading and celebrating the freelance niche to come.
It was so fun talking to Michelle and reflecting back last year when she started the Colorado Rail Proto Meet. She had this idea that not many people were going to come. She was so worried about it. And she basically blew the roof off of the last venue that she had. And now she's moved it to a bigger venue. And you're going to help fill that with some freelancers in the Freelance Forum. Let's talk about the Freelance Forum idea itself and where that got started for you.
Well, Ray, you know, I've got Home Shops as the business that has me involved in the hobby on a daily basis. And I've got some folks that help me out, and they've been suggesting for a while that we do like a freelance RPM. Now I've got a full-time job and I've got Home Shops, which has become another full-time job. And I kind of dismissed the idea at first, thinking there's no way I've got the time to take on something like that. But, you know, 2 years ago, Doug Watts had talked me into doing a clinic with him at the Valley Forge RPM in Pennsylvania. And we did that, and it was a lot of fun. But Michelle Kempema was there. And, you know, as soon as I saw her there, and Michelle is everywhere, I said, "What are you doing here at Michelle?" And she goes, "Well, I'm starting the Colorado RPM, and I'm going around the country looking at, you know, trying to get ideas and see what it's all about, see what works." And that really impressed me. So as, you know, my team has said that we should do this, the idea occurred to me, maybe we should partner with somebody. And, you know, every RPM has its own flavor and culture. A lot of them are really entrenched in a couple of decades of history. And here's this brand new event. And it just seemed like a natural fit. So I reached out to Michelle at Amherst this year with the idea of partnering. And, well, the rest is history. She loved the idea, and we're going to give it a shot here.
Yeah, I think that's true. RPMs around the country do have their own tone, and yeah, they all have that same spirit. That's how they're kind of common. Beyond just the letters RPM, they have that common spirit. And what a great venue to even do it in an RPM. And everybody says, okay, railroad prototype models. So it kind of goes against, like, it's up against that thought. But amazingly, being that RPMs are really that open, that it does work.
Yeah, you know, we were concerned at first that maybe there was that prototype hang up. But, you know, we participated in the Red River RPM in Fort Worth a few times, and we were very welcome there. And I think folks are more interested in seeing that people take the time to create models and to create a model road experience that the viewer can immerse himself in and believe it as if it were prototype. And, there's a whole aspect of in the freelance world, how do you make something look prototype? And you do that with real prototype research, right? It's just a different manifestation of it. So all the painstaking detail and thought that goes into prototype models really goes into freelance models. It's just a different interpretation, if that makes sense. But the models side by side are just as stunning and captivating. These aren't Tyco trains being put on the tables. Right. These are models that people have put hours of time into. So we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, definitely a lot of freelance modelers out there with a lot to share with other people. And I'm sure they're going to be able to be right neck and neck, elbow to elbow with them and being able to share all the techniques that they're using to create their railroads as well.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the planning stage for the Freelance Forum and some of the ideas that you had going into it, and then what we can start to expect as we're heading towards the Freelance Forum and the Colorado Rail Proto Meet.
Sure, Ray. As you can imagine, there's a lot of planning that's gone into this. We have monthly, if not more frequent, Zoom calls with the Colorado Model Railroad Museum's team. We've got basically three facets to this that folks can participate in. We've got a full track of clinics over the course of the weekend. There'll be 7 freelance-related clinics on Saturday and Sunday. And of course, there will be models and display tables for freelance models that can, anybody can bring their stuff to show that's quality. And then we also have the Colorado Model Railroad Museum. And these folks have allowed us to put trains, freelance trains on the layout to operate during the operating session and over the weekend during the event. So one of the big planning pieces here is we're having a freelance office car special. And I put a couple of announcements out to folks who have freelance model railroads to invite them to participate, whether they are able to show up in person or not. And right now, Ray, we have 19 office cars that are going to be on this train. Wow. And a number of them have been shipped. Kevin Kletke of the Washington Northern there up in the Seattle area, he's shipped his car to us. We have a Atlantic and Great Eastern car from the original Jack Ozonich's AGE. That car is going to be on the train. Some really neat stuff. And that'll be one of the trains operating over the weekend on the layout will be this office car special.
Let's go back to that 19 cars you have coming that you know of now. How many of them existed prior to you announcing this office car special? Because I know some guys like Mr. Mike Ostertag is in the midst of painting his as we speak. So how many were there exist before and how many are now being created?
I would probably guess 7 or 8 of them were created just for this event.
Oh, awesome.
And the other ones are already in existence.
Kind of neat when you create an event that actually starts to get people towards modeling, right? And it's really drove them right back to the workbench.
And, that's truly the spirit of what these types of events are all about, drawing people back into the hobby, building that sense of community. And boy, this sure has driven a sense of community with folks participating in this office car special.
You mentioned earlier about clinics. Let's talk about some of the clinics that we can expect to have available to us at the Colorado Rail Proto Meet that are based around the Freelance Forum.
Well, Ray, we're going to do the clinic that I mentioned that Doug Watts and I did in Valley Forge. We're going to do that here. It's basically an introduction to freelance model railroading. And of course, I'm a freelancer myself with the Meridian Speedway, and the bulk of the presentation is going to talk about that journey. And then we've got Jack Brown of the Cardinal System. He is the last remaining that is with us owner of the Cardinal System roads. They were written about in Model Railroader or RMC in the 1980s. He's going to do a presentation on that Cardinal System. And that was the Dean Freitag Southridge lines, John Roberts Blue Ridge and Southern, Hal Kataw's Iron Belt and Southern, and Calumet and Lake Erie, and Jack Brown's own New Hope and Jackson. So he's going to do a presentation on that. And I think that's kind of exciting because it's, again, a community, a group of folks who got together and built a picture that it was larger than either one of them by themselves. And that was, I think it's a great story. Then we've got Matt Gentry. He's got a presence in the model railroad industry. He is a freelancer himself, and he hasn't really let it be known, but he's going to have the Yankeetown Dock Corp, a modern Yankeetown Dock Corp. And by the way, I didn't mention there that Cardinal System, we're going to have a couple of freight car announcements that'll be part of that. The Yankeetown Dock Corp, Matt Gentry, he's calling it the why and the what if. And we'll have a couple of Yankeetown Dock freight car announcements that'll go along with that. And then our friend Greg McComas is going to be there and do a presentation on his Michigan Interstate. And, that's also become kind of a family road, as he's got other modelers now around the country who have railroads under his umbrella of the Michigan Interstate. Kind of a neat concept, kind of applying like what Genesee and Wyoming and Wadco have done to the short line world, but in the freelance world, but having a fellow modeler become the president of a railroad in that family, and they interact. It's a very cool deal. And Chris Palmieri, who is not me, Chris Palmieri.
We got to get a picture of the two of you standing together, the two that get confused with each other all the time, and just hold a sign, hi, I am, and hi, I am, just to keep you guys apart.
Yeah, whenever we talk on the phone, he answers, hello, alter ego. So that's how that goes. But he's going to do a presentation from the perspective of a manufacturer. And of course, he works for Intermountain, and kind of reflect on where the industry is with regards to market share and how they view the freelance segment. I think that's going to be a pretty exciting clinic. Then we've got Daniel Archer. He's a road owner of the West Falls Northern, which was a car we did in our very first run. He's changed the narrative of the WFN a couple of times, and he's going to walk everyone through that. I think that's going to be a great presentation. And maybe saving the best for last, we've got John Parker of the BNSF Fall River Division. I mean, just an amazing railroad. I got to visit that layout in April with some folks who worked for a big railroad that looks just like it, and the folks that were there thought this thing felt way too much like work. He did it just right. I mean, this was just an awe-inspiring layout. So John has a interesting twist. He models the BNSF, which is a prototype railroad in a fictitious setting, but he also has a number of industries that are freelance, and he's going to spin it towards that. And there is one industry that will come with a announcement of a freight car we're going to do that's going to be the highlight of his presentation. So those are the 7 clinics that will be part of the Freelance Forum component. So Michelle's going to have 3 clinic rooms, and there'll be 3 tracks of clinics. One of those 3 tracks of clinics will be our Freelance Forum clinics.
Awesome. Very cool stuff. And I'll tell you, some of this is going to help me because I feel left out at times, because I'll be honest, like some of these older freelance railroads just were never on my radar, because I got started in the mid 2000s, and kind of that era passed me by. I'm aware of them, but to have a deep knowledge of some of these older and more inspirational freelance railroads is something I lack. So I'm hoping for at least the Cardinal System, and then getting to know Matt Gentry's and hearing Greg McComas's story as well. And diving into that, it'll definitely help me get more understanding of the freelance world. And you and I have talked before, and I've had freelancers on the podcast, and a little bit that I've learned, what I have learned is I thought it was easy. You could just make it up, but it seems like freelance can be quite difficult keeping that plausibility.
There's just like in the prototype modeling world, there's no shortage of rabbit holes that the freelance modeler can go down to try and create that perfect story, and then create the perfect illusion or image that makes that story plausible to the viewer. So yeah, for sure. There's a lot of the history and historical freelance model railroaders that, like you, I wasn't really, keen on or aware of when they were going on when I was younger, because I was, more interested in prototype modeling, et cetera, at the time. But with our clinics here, I think we've got a pretty diverse group of folks from way back then to right now that'll hopefully tie it all together and help folks get a comprehensive picture of where this niche has been and where it's going.
We talked about the freelance clinics. We talked about you obviously hinting at some product announcements. That's going to be fun to see what you're coming out with next at Home Shops. Let's talk about some of the layout open houses that are tied in with the Freelance Forum.
Well, the Freelance Forum open houses are not necessarily separate from the Colorado RPM open houses. Of course, John Parker is going to have his layout open, and Dave Stewart with his amazing Appalachian and Ohio large-scale layout is going to be open to the public. If you're able to make that, I highly recommend that you do. And I particularly enjoy his rain room, where he's got a room, and it is raining for all practical purposes in that room. The lighting and the sounds are there. It's very, very cool. So when you join or register for the Colorado RPM, you'll get access to the list of the model railroads and when they're going to be open and the addresses. And there's not really a differentiation with regards to them being Freelance Forum or Colorado RPM layouts. Everybody who signs up for the Colorado RPM, gets access to our component as part of the overall show.
Oh, excellent. And I'm sure one of the other things too, mixed in with the Colorado Rail Proto Meet, and a part of that and freelancers are welcome to participate in, is the model displays. Talk about that, because that's a lot of fun to be able to do at any RPM.
Oh, for sure. I've talked to Michelle here. We were looking at some of the ways in which other RPMs had displayed models with, cards, and some of them seem like they're just pages that are printed up off the printer here and ripped. And so we're going to have some nice display cards with the Freelance Forum logo on some and the Colorado RPM logo on others, so that folks displaying a freelance model will have that card in front of it. So it'll be easy for folks to tell, because a lot of freelance modelers go that extra mile to make their stuff look extremely believable. Whether or not you're looking at a freelance model or a prototype model, you'll be able to tell by the cards. But I think Michelle has 42 tables that are going to be available just for displays of models. And we've got a lot of folks that have already told us they're bringing stuff, but we also expect a lot of walk-ins or people who are just going to show up on Friday and Saturday morning with models to display. So hopefully that's not too many tables. Hopefully it's not enough tables, but there's going to be a lot of exciting models to display. And, unlike with at an NMRA model contest or display where you really need to have volumes of information written down to enter and display your stuff, this is a much more user-friendly atmosphere. You don't have to have all of your how-to documented, though you can certainly share, if you want, on the table any information you want with the models.
Well, it's always nice to be able to see the models on display, but it's even better when we get to see them moving around a layout, and especially the beautiful layout at the Colorado Model Railroad Museum. Talk about operating sessions on that layout.
Well, there's a first come, first serve operating session on Friday evening. When you register for the RPM, you'll get an invitation to sign up for the different types of positions they have. And it's also a very large facility. So if it is booked up or all the slots are taken that Friday evening, anybody who's attending can hang out at the Colorado Model Railroad Museum and watch these trains operate. And as part of that operating session, our freelance equipment that's on the railroad will be part of it. And there's going to be some times during the weekend where, the people who are operators at the Colorado Model Railroad Museum, they're going to want to be participating in the Freelance Forum event or the RPM event. So the railroad will be operating on, they've got a computer that'll run the trains. And I think it's up to 8 at a time. So we'll have trains operating continuously over the weekend for folks to see. And, to your point, this is one thing that differentiates the Colorado RPM from the other RPMs, is that we have access to and affiliation with this amazing model railroad. And most RPMs, there will be layouts at the RPM that belong to clubs, and they're generally exclusive to the owners of those particular layouts, what equipment is on them and whatnot. But this is just a world-class layout, and this community that we're bringing to the event is going to be able to participate in it with trains running around the railroad. So just really excited to see, the kind of the blueprint vision of these railroads is what's on display at the RPM on the tables. And then when you go to the museum, you get to see that blueprint come to life and really enjoy these trains running in a spectacular setting. So pretty excited about that.
We should make note for folks that are planning on bringing rolling stock to put on the Colorado Model Railroad Museum layout. There is a bit of a requirement, right?
Yeah, a little requirement. If you want to have equipment running, there needs to be at least one resistor-equipped wheel set per car. and that's for block detection. Some of the control points are rather lengthy, and from the dispatcher screen, a train could disappear, in a control point if nothing has resistors, or when it's in computer operation, if a train disappears in a control point, a switch could line under a train. So that is important, but there's a lot of folks commercially who make them available, JV Wheels or Rail Logic. And there's also a number of YouTube videos that'll show you online how to install the resistors yourself if you're so inclined. So that is, and of course, all the NMRA standards, coupler height, wheels engage, all that goes without saying. We would expect equipment on layout to meet those standards.
Well, I guess I might have to get the soldering iron out and put a resistor on the ATLP 2022 car. It has been on the Colorado Model Railroad Museum layout before, but I don't think it's got a resistor on it. So we'll get that all fixed up, and I'm looking forward to being out at the Colorado Rail Proto Meet and being able to talk to all these amazing modelers, both prototype and freelance modelers, all gathering under one roof out in Greeley, Colorado, September 27th and 28th. And you can check out more information about the Freelance Forum on the Colorado RPM website. That's corpm.org. And while we're here, let's find out what's new from Home Shops.
Well, there's a lot going on. We just took delivery of 2 new freight cars in the last couple of weeks. We got our Rapido GP20 tank cars in a Frank Ellison Delta Lines Industry, the Gargle Oil Company, and also the Water Train, which is a real company that operates ships water by rail. They don't have tank cars painted up with their logo, so we kind of reverse engineered that, where we can buy a car now ahead of what this prototype company intends to paint on their cars. And then I just got delivery yesterday of the long-awaited Atlas CNCF 5000 boxcars. So we're processing that. Let's see, one of the roads is the Georgia Road, and I believe Hank Stevens is planning to attend the Freelance Forum. Man, we've got folks from Portland all the way to Alabama and Georgia with plans, and you in the north. I mean, people are coming from all over for this, but those are the 2 newest arrivals, and we're scrambling here to get everything ready for our announcements at the Freelance Forum. Our intention is to announce three separate locomotive projects.
Wow!
At the Freelance Forum, our V&O C30-7 has sold out. That was our first test of the locomotive market, and we're going to follow that up with a winner that goes right hand in hand with that locomotive. And then we've got some really exciting offerings for other newer freelance model railroads. So we're pretty excited about that. I believe we're going to make 3 freight car announcements as well at the RPM.
Wow. So busy times there at Home Shops. Not only are you shipping product and designing product and make all these product announcements, now you have the Freelance Forum that you're doing. Where do you find the free time, Chris?
Well, Ray, I was hoping you might have some pointers because
no,
because you definitely pack a lot in your schedule as well. I'm very fortunate to have some very intelligent and capable people offering me assistance.
It's a whole different world when it's a passion project, isn't it? When it's something you love, you find the time for it.
Absolutely.
Chris Palmieri, homeshops.net. Check out what offerings they have at homeshops.net. A lot of great freelance products, including some older runs. We've got some cars available on those as well. So browse through. It's really neat. I just love going through, and I love different logos and seeing that as well. And especially on different design cars. And there's quite a selection here. And like I said, go again, homeshops.net, check out what the offerings are from them, all these awesome freelance roads, and make plans to get yourself out to Colorado and hang out with Chris and myself and all these freelance railroaders. You can go to corpm.org. And if you missed any of those links, you can find them on our website, aroundthelayout.com/185. Chris, thank you so much for coming on Around the Layout and telling us all about the Freelance Forum.
Right. It's been a pleasure, and I'm eagerly awaiting seeing you in person at the Greeley event.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Around the Layout. Learn more about today's episode, check out past shows, and much more on our website, aroundthelayout.com. Show your support by becoming an operating crew member at aroundthelayout.com/crew. Follow us on social media, aroundthelayout.com/social. And send us your feedback aroundthelayout@gmail.com. Thanks for hanging out with us around the layout.